The city of San Isidro, a small and quiet Mexican village, is ruled for generations by the powerful Garcia family. They fiercely protect their ancient traditions, but behind the walls of their imposing hacienda, dark secrets take shape. Sofía García, a determined and wounded young woman, discovers that the legacy her family has fought so hard to preserve hides unimaginable betrayals. Amid forbidden loves, feuds spanning generations, and enemies emerging from the shadows, an unexpected tragedy strikes the Garcia family. In San Isidro, no one is completely innocent, and everyone has something to lose. The story begins in this modest Mexican town, where the Garcia family is both respected and wealthy. They own vast lands and businesses. The patriarch, Don Ernesto Garcia, is a strong-willed and authoritative man who has always been the family's pillar. His wife, Doña Rosa, is a devout and loving woman who has always abided by her husband's rules. Together they have two children, Alejandro and Sofía. Alejandro is Don Ernesto's pride, a successful and ambitious man, while Sofía is Doña Rosa's beloved daughter, a kind but rebellious young woman. However, Alejandro hides a dark secret. He is involved in illicit activities unknown to his father. Meanwhile, Sofía is in a secret relationship with Diego, a young, humble worker on the family estate. Their love defies the social norms Don Ernesto holds dear, as he dreams of marrying Sofía to someone of equal status. One afternoon, while wandering through the family home, Sofía overhears a conversation between her father and a mysterious man. Hiding behind a door, she hears her father mention an illegitimate son, a brother she never knew existed. Confused and scared, she decides to remain silent, but doubt begins to consume her. As Sofía and Diego's relationship deepens, she dreams of escaping with him. Diego, a hard-working and principled man, deeply loves Sofía, but fears for their safety if Don Ernesto discovers their romance. When Don Ernesto organizes a grand celebration for his 30th wedding anniversary with Doña Rosa, Sofía notices her father behaving unusually anxious and distracted. Alejandro, on the other hand, arrives with his fiancée, Lucia, a beautiful but ambitious woman only interested in the Garcia fortune. The next day, Sofía receives an anonymous letter warning her about terrible secrets hidden by her family and urging her to be cautious. The letter also mentions that her brother Alejandro is in danger because of his illicit activities. Terrified, Sofía confronts Alejandro, who denies everything and accuses her of being paranoid. That same night, Alejandro receives an unexpected visit from Gerardo, an old friend involved in his shady deals. Gerardo demands a large sum of money, threatening to reveal everything to Don Ernesto if he refuses. Desperate, Alejandro tries to negotiate but knows he's cornered. Unable to forget what she overheard, Sofía confronts her mother, Doña Rosa. In tears, Doña Rosa confesses that before marrying Don Ernesto, he had a relationship with another woman that resulted in a child. That child was given up for adoption, and Don Ernesto never spoke of him again. Sofía feels her world crumbling around her. She decides she can no longer live under a roof full of secrets and betrayals. She tells Diego everything she has discovered and proposes they run away together. Although fearful, Diego agrees, and they plan to escape that very night. Before Sofía can flee, Don Ernesto discovers her relationship with Diego. Furious, he threatens to destroy Diego's life if he doesn't stay away from Sofía. Boldly, Sofía stands up to her father, telling him she no longer respects him. Wounded in his pride, Don Ernesto locks her in her room and fires Diego. Meanwhile, Alejandro's dealings fall apart. Gerardo loses patience and exposes the truth to Don Ernesto. Enraged and disappointed, Don Ernesto confronts Alejandro, who finally admits his mistakes. In that moment, Don Ernesto disowns him. Sofía finds another letter, this time signed. It is from Mariana, the woman who bore Don Ernesto's illegitimate child. In the letter, Mariana reveals that the son she gave up for adoption is Diego. Stunned, Sofía confronts Diego with the letter. Both are in shock, but they decide to seek out Mariana to confirm the story. Together, they travel to a nearby town where Mariana lives. There, they find her, a dignified older woman who confirms the truth. Diego is Don Ernesto's son. Devastated, Sofía and Diego realize their love is impossible. Heartbroken, they return to San Isidro. Sofía confronts her father one last time, demanding to know why he abandoned his son and allowed him to grow up unaware of his origins. For the first time, Don Ernesto shows vulnerability. He confesses that he always knew about Diego, but let his pride and fear dictate his actions. Though hurt, Sofía forgives him, but warns him that Diego may never do the same. Seeking redemption, Don Ernesto asks Diego for forgiveness. Although still wounded, Diego forgives him, but makes it clear he will never see him as a father. They agree to a cordial relationship for Sofía's sake. Meanwhile, Lucia, seeing Alejandro has lost his fortune, leaves him. Alejandro hits rock bottom, realizing he has lost everything to his ambition. Sofía and Diego decide to remain in each other's lives, but as siblings, both understand that their love must transform into a fraternal bond. Although the pain persists, they find comfort in knowing they will always have someone to trust. The story concludes with Don Ernesto reflecting on his mistakes. He decides to donate part of his land to the field workers and dedicate the rest of his life to making amends. The García family will never be the same, but forgiveness and redemption allow them to start anew. After being disowned by his father and abandoned by Lucia, Alejandro decides to leave San Isidro and start over in the capital. Before departing, he seeks out Sofía to apologize for his mistakes. He confesses that he always envied her for being their mother's favorite and for having the freedom to love without worrying about status or money. Alejandro admits that the constant pressure to be the perfect son led him down the wrong path. In an emotional moment, the siblings reconcile through tears, promising to keep in touch despite the distance. Sofía bids him farewell at the train station with a hopeful embrace. As Alejandro departs, a new conflict arises in Sofía and Diego's lives. Gerardo, Alejandro's former associate, returns, bringing unexpected problems. Seeing an opportunity, Gerardo blackmails Diego, threatening to reveal to the entire town that Diego is Don Ernesto's illegitimate son unless he pays a substantial sum of money. Diego, now building a life of his own, finds himself trapped in an impossible situation. He knows that if the secret comes to light, his reputation will be ruined. Upon learning of the situation, Sofía decides to take action. She knows her family has already endured enough, but she also realizes she must face the demons of their past to protect Diego. Sofía confronts Gerardo and offers him an alternative. If he leaves Diego alone, she will pay his debts using part of the García fortune. To do so, Sofía sells some of the land Don Ernesto had gifted her, ensuring Gerardo has no further reason to blackmail Diego. Though Diego feels guilty, he accepts his sister's help and vows to do whatever it takes to protect the family moving forward. The relationship between Don Ernesto and Diego remains tense. Although Diego has forgiven his father to some extent, many wounds remain open. In his old age, Don Ernesto realizes that years of pride and secrecy have estranged him from the people who truly matter in his life. Shortly after resolving the conflict with Gerardo, Doña Rosa falls gravely ill. Diagnosed with a terminal illness, the family must come to terms with the fact that she has little time left. This devastating news deeply affects everyone, especially Sofía, who has always had a close bond with her mother. Doña Rosa's illness becomes a catalyst for reuniting the family. Alejandro returns to San Isidro to be with his mother, and the three siblings, including Diego, come together during her final days. On her deathbed, Doña Rosa asks everyone to leave the past behind and learn to live in harmony. She specifically urges Don Ernesto to sincerely apologize to Diego, not just for abandoning him, but for making him feel like an outsider in his own family. With tears in his eyes, Don Ernesto kneels before Diego and begs for forgiveness. Though moved, Diego knows that forgiveness is a process. Nonetheless, he accepts his father's apology. Doña Rosa passes away, surrounded by her family, leaving a profound void in their hearts. Her death marks a turning point for the Garcías, who must now rebuild their bonds without the maternal figure who always held them together. The loss of his wife profoundly changes Don Ernesto. He becomes a humbler man and starts actively participating in the social causes of the town. He decides to donate a large portion of his land to the farmers and establish a fund to help the needy in Doña Rosa's memory. Over time, Alejandro returns to San Isidro permanently. After many failures in the city, he decides it is time to rebuild his life in the countryside, close to his family. Although he is no longer the spoiled and successful son he once was, Alejandro finds fulfillment in leading a simpler and more honest life. Diego, for his part, chooses to stay in San Isidro to help manage his father's lands. Although he rejects any inheritance, he works hard to earn the community's respect. His relationship with Don Ernesto slowly improves, though much healing remains to be done. Sofía undergoes significant change as well. After her mother's death and the struggles she faced alongside Diego, she becomes a stronger and more independent woman. Deciding it is time to focus on herself and her future, Sofía gets involved in local causes and begins studying law, hoping to defend the most vulnerable. In time, she meets Miguel, a young lawyer who arrives in town to help reorganize the García lands. Miguel is different from Diego, more stable and understanding, offering Sofía a fresh chance at love. Though hesitant at first, she eventually opens her heart to him. Despite Don Ernesto's efforts to redeem himself, some in the town still harbor resentment toward him for his past as a landowner. A group of farmers, led by Ramon, an old enemy of the family, decides to challenge his leadership and threatens to destroy everything he has built. Diego, now respected in the community, steps in to mediate between his father and the farmers, determined to mend the fractures of the past while building a better future for everyone. Over time, Diego manages to calm tensions and negotiate a fair agreement that benefits both sides, showcasing his leadership skills. This final conflict helps heal the remaining wounds between Don Ernesto and Diego. Don Ernesto finally acknowledges the value and integrity of his illegitimate son. Though Diego will always maintain some distance, he decides to fully accept his place within the family. The story ends with the García family rebuilt, though not without scars. They have overcome betrayals, secrets, and past mistakes. Sofía, Alejandro, and Diego have found their own paths, and Don Ernesto, now a changed man, spends his final years in peace, knowing he has done his best to redeem himself. After months of working together to reorganize the lands, Sofía and Miguel's relationship deepens. They share a vision of justice and a commitment to helping the less fortunate, drawing them closer. However, Sofía, still scarred by the pain of her failed relationship with Diego, is hesitant to fully open her heart. One day, Miguel receives an offer to return to the city, where he is offered a prestigious position at a law firm. The news surprises Sofía, who realizes her feelings for him are deeper than she thought. But Miguel leaves her with a difficult decision. Will she follow him to the city or stay in San Isidro to continue her own plans? Sofía faces a crossroads. On one hand, she feels she could have a fulfilling life with Miguel, away from the family complications of San Isidro. On the other hand, her love for the town and the cause she has fought for keeps her rooted. In an emotional conversation with Diego, who has become her confidant, Sofía admits her confusion. With the maturity he has gained over the years, Diego advises her not to fear following her heart. He reminds her that she has sacrificed much for the family and that now it is time to think about herself. He assures her that Miguel is a good man who deserves a chance to make her happy. After a night of reflection, Sofía makes the most important decision of her life. She decides to stay in San Isidro. Although she loves Miguel, she realizes her purpose is greater than any relationship. She wants to help her people and her town, knowing that this is the legacy her mother, Doña Rosa, would have wanted her to leave. Miguel, though disappointed, respects her decision and supports her new path. While Sofía navigates her emotions, Ramón, the family's old enemy, returns to town with a new plan for revenge against Don Ernesto. Having quietly amassed power, Ramón aims to seize what little remains of Don Ernesto's lands, taking advantage of his fragility and advanced age. Ramón starts a campaign to discredit Don Ernesto and his family, accusing them of building their wealth on years of exploitation. Diego, who has worked tirelessly to restore the García name, finds himself in a difficult position. He must protect his family while remaining fair to the townspeople who continue to suffer. One night, Ramón and his followers storm the García estate. Though their intent is not to harm anyone physically, they aim to intimidate Don Ernesto and his children. Diego confronts Ramón in a tense standoff where years of hatred and resentment finally erupt. Ramón accuses Don Ernesto of having robbed him of everything in his youth. Just as the situation seems to be spiraling out of control, Sofía steps in. With a calm yet commanding presence, she demands that Ramón and his men leave. Using a combination of diplomacy and empathy, Sofía diffuses the situation by reminding Ramón that a future cannot be built on hatred. She offers him an alternative: to work together to improve the lives of the farmers and the land without resorting to violence. To everyone's surprise, Ramón accepts Sofía's proposal. Though his bitterness remains, he recognizes that she is different from Don Ernesto and genuinely wants to help the town. Sofía becomes the leader San Isidro desperately needed, and Ramón joins her cause, leaving years of resentment behind. With the conflict resolved, Don Ernesto, now in his old age, decides to retire completely from public life. He knows his past mistakes will haunt him forever, but he finds peace in the choices he has made to make amends. He spends his final days in tranquility, surrounded by his family, especially Diego, with whom he has built a stronger relationship. Alejandro, after years of struggle to redeem himself, opens a small business in San Isidro. Though he no longer has the wealth or power he once enjoyed, he finds satisfaction in his new, simple, and honest life. He has learned to value what truly matters: family, hard work, and honesty. Sofía, now a lawyer and community leader, becomes a key figure in transforming San Isidro. Under her leadership, the town begins to prosper, and relationships between different social classes improve. She dedicates herself to fighting for the rights of the farmers and improving living conditions for everyone in the community. One last time, Miguel returns to San Isidro to bid farewell to Sofía before moving to the city. Though their romantic relationship did not work out, they maintain a deep friendship and mutual respect. In their goodbye, Miguel tells Sofía he will always admire her and hopes their paths will cross again someday. Sofía, Alejandro, and Diego come together to make a significant donation in their mother Doña Rosa's name to build a school in San Isidro. The school will carry her name, a testament to her enduring legacy and the love she inspired in her family. The name Doña Rosa García becomes a symbol of redemption and new beginnings for the family. For them, it is the best way to honor her memory. Meanwhile, Diego begins to feel an attraction toward Mariana, a young teacher who has come to the town to work at the new school. Mariana is kind, compassionate, and hardworking, qualities Diego deeply admires. Though hesitant at first due to the emotional scars of his past, Diego allows himself to love again. He and Mariana start a slow but solid relationship built on mutual respect and a shared desire to make San Isidro a better place. For the first time in many years, the Garcia family finds balance. Though they have endured betrayals, shocking revelations, and deep losses, they have learned to forgive and rebuild their familial bonds. Don Ernesto, Sofia, Alejandro, and Diego live in peace, knowing they have done the right thing to redeem the mistakes of the past. Thanks to the combined efforts of Sofia, Diego, and Ramon, San Isidro begins to flourish. The lands are productive, the farmers work in better conditions, and the community prospers under Sofia's leadership. The town becomes an example of reconciliation and progress. The story ends with a sense of hope and renewal. The Garcias, once a family marked by scandal and secrets, have transformed into one that works for forgiveness and justice. Their legacy is one of redemption, love, and sacrifice. They can finally live in peace, knowing they have left a positive mark on the world. Sofia, now a key figure in the town, continues to dedicate herself fully to improving San Isidro. The school, bearing her mother's name, has become a symbol of hope for future generations. Sofia works tirelessly to offer them better opportunities. Yet, despite her professional success, she sometimes feels the absence of a complete personal life. Memories of Miguel often resurface with intensity. Although Sofia knows she made the right decision by staying in San Isidro, she cannot help but wonder what her life might have been like if she had followed Miguel to the city. Still, beyond the nostalgia, Sofia feels proud of her accomplishments, knowing her sacrifices have brought prosperity to her town. Despite the advances in San Isidro, not everything is perfect. A new threat arises when a multinational corporation expresses interest in purchasing the farmers' lands to exploit the area's natural resources. This company, led by unscrupulous businessman Federico Ramirez, offers large sums of money to the farmers, who are tempted by the offer and begin considering selling their lands. The farmers face a tough decision: the promise of instant wealth versus the risk of losing their lands and way of life. Sofia, concerned about Federico's true intentions, tries to convince them not to sell. She knows the corporation only seeks to exploit resources without caring for the town's well-being. Federico, a charismatic and ambitious man, arrives in San Isidro with a charming demeanor, trying to win the farmers' trust. He approaches Ramon, now a leader among the workers, to persuade him to support the sale. Ramon, though tempted, remembers past mistakes and decides to consult Sofia before making any decisions. Sofia meets with Ramon and the farmers' leaders to warn them of the dangers of selling their lands. She reminds them of other towns that accepted similar offers and how corporations destroyed their communities. Though many farmers listen to her with respect, the lure of easy wealth continues to weigh on them. Sofia decides to confront Federico directly. In a tense meeting, she demands that he leave San Isidro and stop preying on its people. Federico, however, is unfazed. He warns her that he has the resources to buy the lands with or without everyone's consent, and that the farmers are already starting to cave in. Amid the crisis, Sofia receives an unexpected visitor. Miguel has returned to the town. Learning about the problems in San Isidro, he has come back to help her. Though Miguel's reappearance stirs old feelings in Sofia, they both agree to leave the past behind and focus on protecting the town. With Miguel's city contacts and legal expertise, they team up to fight Federico and his corporation. Together, they investigate the company's plans and discover that Federico's project involves the total destruction of the land for resource extraction, which would destroy San Isidro as they know it. Realizing the influence Don Ernesto still holds over many in the town, Federico pressures him directly. He meets with the elderly patriarch and offers him an exorbitant sum of money to support the sale of the lands. Though tempted, Don Ernesto rejects the offer, fully aware of the damage it would cause to his family and the town. In a desperate move to gain leverage, Federico resorts to intimidation. One night, a group of his men ambushes Diego while he is walking alone on the Garcia lands, leaving him severely injured. Although Diego survives, the attack serves as a stark warning that Federico is willing to do anything to achieve his goals. The assault on Diego ignites the town's anger. The farmers, previously divided, begin to unite to protect their people and their lands. Ramon, outraged by the attack on his friend, calls on all the farmers to organize a defense against the corporation's pressures. Supported by Miguel, Sofía rallies the town, using her determination and newfound unity to face the looming threat of Federico Ramirez. Sofía organizes a large gathering in the town's central plaza. With firmness and passion, she delivers an emotional speech, reminding the community of the importance of protecting their home and roots. She speaks of her parents' sacrifices, the years of struggle for the land, and pleads with them not to be swayed by false promises. Inspired by Sofía's words and the attack on Diego, the farmers decide to resist. No one will sell their land to Federico, and the community unites to guard their properties day and night. The bonds between the residents of San Isidro grow stronger, and their unity becomes their most powerful weapon. Seeing the situation slip out of his control, Federico plans a final blow. He devises a scheme to use forged documents to claim ownership of the lands through legal loopholes. When Miguel learns of the plan, he acts swiftly, filing a lawsuit on behalf of the farmers to prevent the fraud. The trial becomes a pivotal event for San Isidro's survival. Federico uses all his resources to win, but Miguel and Sofía, armed with compelling evidence, dismantle his strategy. The community follows the trial with anticipation, hoping their land will be saved. Finally, the judge rules in favor of the farmers. Federico is defeated, and his company loses all rights to the lands of San Isidro. The town celebrates with joy, knowing they have won a crucial battle to preserve their home. Humiliated, Federico leaves the town for good. After the victory, Sofía and Miguel decide to give their relationship a second chance. Though their past was fraught with doubts and obstacles, they both know their love remains strong. They choose to start anew, this time building a life together in San Isidro, where they can continue fighting for justice and the well-being of their community. Don Ernesto, though weakened by age, feels proud to see his daughter Sofía grow into a strong and fair leader. He knows that despite his mistakes, he has left behind a legacy of resilience and redemption in his family. In his final days, surrounded by loved ones, Don Ernesto passes away peacefully, confident that San Isidro is in capable hands. The story ends with San Isidro, stronger than ever. The community, united and protected by leaders like Sofía and Miguel, continues to grow and prosper. Future generations now have the opportunity to study, work, and live in peace, thanks to the sacrifices of those who fought to preserve their lands. The legacy of the Garcia family remains intact, marked by redemption, love, and justice. After Don Ernesto's death, the Garcia family enters a period of mourning and reflection. Although the patriarch was a controversial figure, his final actions redeemed him in the eyes of his children and the community. His funeral becomes a massive event where farmers and townspeople gather to honor the man who, despite his flaws, helped protect the land they cherished so dearly. Following Don Ernesto's passing, Sofía and Miguel begin building their life together. Their relationship, once filled with hesitation and distance, is now grounded in trust and love. Sofía, having firmly decided to stay in San Isidro, deepens her commitment to her town's cause, while Miguel establishes a small law office to offer legal services to those in need. Meanwhile, Diego continues to recover emotionally and physically from Federico's attack. His relationship with Mariana, the teacher, grows stronger, and he asks her to move in with him at the García estate. Mariana, who has been a pillar of support for Diego during difficult times, accepts with joy. Together, they begin planning their future. Although Alejandro has found peace in his new life in San Isidro, he continues to grapple with the ghosts of his past. The weight of the mistakes he made in his youth still haunts him. One day, while sorting through old family documents, he finds a letter from his mother, Doña Rosa, written before her death. In the letter, she speaks of forgiveness and the importance of redeeming oneself, not just in the eyes of others, but also in one's own heart. Inspired by his mother's words, Alejandro takes another step toward redemption. He joins the town's community efforts, helping farmers improve their agricultural techniques and organizing training programs. While he knows he cannot erase his past, he is determined to build a more honest and meaningful future. As San Isidro continues to prosper, new challenges arise. A group of investors arrives in the town, interested in building a tourist resort. Their offer promises jobs and modernization, but Sofía and the town's leaders are cautious. The project could disrupt the balance between nature and the community, destroying the town's essence. The investors, led by Eduardo Galvan, a seemingly benevolent but ambitious businessman, offer to improve the town's infrastructure, including building hospitals and schools, in exchange for constructing the resort. The proposal is tempting, especially for those eager to see San Isidro progress beyond its rural roots. Eduardo's offer creates a division in the town. Some, like Ramon and the younger residents, view the project as an opportunity for a prosperous future. Others, led by Sofía and Diego, fear that San Isidro will lose its identity and that the promises of progress could ultimately destroy what they have fought so hard to preserve. Sofía finds herself at a crossroads. As a lawyer and advocate for the people, she understands the economic benefits the project could bring. However, she also knows that Eduardo and his investors might not consider the community's long-term interests. She feels the weight of protecting San Isidro while balancing the desire to improve the lives of its people. In the midst of this dilemma, a figure from the past reappears, Lucia, Alejandro's ex-fiancée. After years abroad, Lucia returns, this time as a representative of the investors. Her presence reopens old wounds for both Alejandro and Sofía, reviving memories of the conflicts and betrayals she caused in the past. Lucia meets with Alejandro, who has not forgotten how she abandoned him at his lowest point. Although she tries to justify her actions by claiming she also suffered the consequences of her decisions, Alejandro remains distant. However, Lucia has not returned merely to mend old wounds. She is determined to persuade Alejandro to support the tourism project. Lucia presents Alejandro with a tempting offer. If he supports the project, the investors are willing to make the García family principal partners. This would secure a prosperous future for the family and allow them to maintain control over the land, preventing investor exploitation. Although intrigued, Alejandro knows accepting the proposal could be seen as a betrayal of Sofía and the town. He decides to share Lucia's offer with Sofía and Diego. The discussion is heated. Diego strongly opposes the idea, arguing that history has already shown the dangers of giving up control of their lands. Sofía, though less forceful, feels deeply disappointed by Lucia's offer and does not trust her true intentions. Sofía and Miguel decide to investigate Eduardo Galvan's project and his investors. They uncover hidden agreements that would allow the businessmen to exploit the natural resources without proper regulations. potentially devastating the town. Armed with this information, Sofía becomes more determined than ever to stop the project. In a last-ditch effort to manipulate the situation, Lucia publicly reveals the offer she made to Alejandro, insinuating that the García family is considering betraying San Isidro for money. The revelation causes a scandal in the town, and many begin to question the true intentions of the family. Faced with public pressure, Alejandro gives a speech in the town square. Speaking with humility and sincerity, he admits he considered the offer but reaffirms his loyalty to San Isidro and his family. He reminds everyone of the sacrifices they made in the past and promises to fight to preserve the town's essence without succumbing to external pressures. Exposed and defeated, Lucia leaves San Isidro once again. Her attempt to divide the town and the García family fails, and Eduardo Galvan, seeing that he lacks community support, decides to withdraw his project. San Isidro, once again, resists the temptations of easy progress. With the threat of the investors neutralized, San Isidro continues to grow, but sustainably. Sofía, Miguel, Diego, and Alejandro work together to develop initiatives that respect the town's traditions and natural environment while finding ways to improve the quality of life for its residents. Sofía and Miguel, strengthened by the challenges they have overcome together, decide to get married. In a simple but emotional ceremony at the García estate, the event unites the entire community, celebrating not just the couple's union, but also the spirit of resilience and unity that defines San Isidro. The story of the García family concludes with a sense of peace and fulfillment. Through generations of conflict, secrets, and redemption, they have managed to protect what matters most: their land, their family, and their community. The legacy of the Garcías lives on, not just as a powerful family, but as guardians of San Isidro, a town that has learned to thrive without losing its identity. After Sofía and Miguel's wedding, San Isidro enters a period of prosperity and calm. The sustainable initiatives implemented by the García family and the town's leaders begin to bear fruit. The lands are productive, the new school is fully operational, and the community seems more united than ever. However, this calm is fragile, and new challenges loom on the horizon. One day, a mysterious man named Camilo Vargas arrives in San Isidro, claiming to be interested in learning about the town's sustainable agricultural practices. At first, his presence raises no suspicions, as he seems genuinely eager to learn from the community. However, Sofía, ever cautious, begins to notice that Camilo asks too many questions about the García lands and their family's past. Sofía shares her concerns with Miguel and Diego, who both agree that Camilo might have ulterior motives. Digging deeper, they discover that Camilo is not just a curious visitor. He is connected to a powerful law firm known for involvement in land disputes across Mexico. While investigating Camilo's background, Sofía uncovers old documents that reveal a new García family secret, one even Don Ernesto never fully knew. The documents show that over 70 years ago, the lands now owned by the Garcías were acquired through a shady agreement between Sofía's grandfather and the local government. If this agreement comes to light, it could jeopardize the legitimacy of the García properties. Sofía confronts Camilo, who eventually admits that he is in San Isidro to investigate the lands. He represents a family who, based on old documents, claims ownership of a significant portion of the García properties. The Vargas family believes they are entitled to compensation for what they view as the theft of their ancestors' lands. Sofía finds herself at a new crossroads. While unsure of the Vargas family's claim, she knows that if this territorial conflict becomes public, it could jeopardize the town's stability and tarnish the reputation of her family. She also fears that the dispute could reignite old resentments between the farmers and the García family. Although Camilo represents the Vargas family, He is not entirely hostile. He offers Sofía a deal. If she agrees to cede a small portion of the land to the Vargas family, they will drop their claim and avoid taking the matter to court. However, Sofía does not trust him and suspects that accepting the deal might lead to more demands in the future. With time running out, Sofía and Miguel decide to travel to Mexico City to investigate the Vargas family's claim. Searching government archives, they discover that the Vargas family's documents were manipulated decades ago to legitimize a false claim. The truth is that the lands have always legally belonged to the Garcías, and the Vargas family has been scheming for years to take them. During their investigation, Sofía and Miguel meet Esteban, a former employee of the Vargas family's law firm. Esteban, who resigned due to disagreements with the firm's corrupt practices, agrees to help them expose the truth. He has documents proving the forgeries and is willing to testify against the Vargas family. Sofía and Miguel return to San Isidro with the evidence they need to defend their lands. Meanwhile, Diego has been preparing the town for what could be a long and complicated legal battle. The Garcías once again stand united to protect their legacy and their community. The farmers who have always supported the García family are ready to stand alongside them to protect what they consider their home. Sofía organizes a meeting with Camilo and the Vargas family, presenting the evidence she and Miguel uncovered in Mexico City. Camilo, shocked, realizes he has been deceived by his own family, who used him to try to claim lands that never belonged to them. Though he tries to defend himself, Sofía makes it clear that they will not tolerate further manipulation. Hurt by his family's betrayal, Camilo steps away from the conflict. However, the Vargas family, led by Cecilia Vargas, the true mastermind behind the scheme, refuses to give up. Cecilia launches a public campaign to discredit the Garcías, using local media to sow doubt about the legitimacy of their lands. In response to the media attacks, the people of San Isidro rally to defend the Garcías. Farmers organize peaceful protests and community events to show their support for the family that has protected their lands for generations. Sofía, alongside Miguel and Diego, leads the effort to restore the García name and expose the Vargas family's false claims. In a final, desperate move, the Vargas family takes the case to court. However, thanks to the evidence provided by Esteban and the diligent work of Sofía and Miguel, the judge rules in favor of the Garcías. The lands are officially declared the legitimate property of the García family, and the Vargas family loses any claim to San Isidro. Humiliated and defeated, Cecilia withdraws from the public eye, her plan for revenge having failed. She must now face the consequences of her actions. Camilo, affected by the conflict, decides to remain in San Isidro for a time to help repair the damage caused by his family. He approaches Sofía, offering sincere apologies for his role in the dispute. He proposes an alliance to create projects that benefit the community, using his resources and connections to improve the town's conditions. Though initially skeptical, Sofía decides to give Camilo a chance, recognizing that a second chance can be the first step toward redemption. With the Vargas threat neutralized, San Isidro's lands thrive. The sustainable farming projects led by Diego and Alejandro expand, and the town becomes a model of success for other rural communities. Sofía and Miguel, with Camilo's support, establish a development fund to improve education and the well-being of the town's residents. Finally, after years of struggle and growth, Diego and Mariana marry in an emotional ceremony on the García family estate. The event is a celebration of perseverance, love, and unity. The García family, more united than ever, celebrates this new chapter with the community. At the close of this chapter, Sofía reflects on all they have endured. The betrayals, secrets, and sacrifices have strengthened the family, preparing them for future challenges. Though obstacles will always exist, the Garcías have learned that together they can overcome any adversity. The story ends with a vision of San Isidro's future, a town that has faced conflicts and trials but has emerged stronger. The García family, now at peace, continues to protect the land and values that mean so much to them. Their legacy endures with the promise that future generations will carry forward the flame of sacrifice, love, and justice. With the García family finally at peace and San Isidro thriving, the town enters a period of growth and transformation. Sofía, now an indisputable leader, continues to work tirelessly for the community's welfare. However, new challenges emerge, not from external forces, but from within the family itself. Mariana, Diego's wife, gives birth to their first child, Santiago. The arrival of a new member of the García family brings joy and hope, but also raises questions about the future of the family's legacy. Who will take on the responsibilities of managing the lands and the community when Sofía, Diego, and Alejandro can no longer do so? Despite his redemption, Alejandro feels increasingly distant from his siblings. Although his business in San Isidro has prospered, his personal life remains an emotional battlefield. He has distanced himself from daily family matters, focusing on his enterprise and maintaining a cold relationship with Sofía and Diego. The shadow of his past mistakes continues to weigh heavily on him, preventing him from finding inner peace. One day, San Isidro receives a visit from Gabriela, a childhood friend of Sofía and Diego, who moved to the city many years ago. Now a successful businesswoman, Gabriela returns with the goal of investing in community development projects for the town. Her return stirs old feelings in Diego, putting his recently established marital stability with Mariana at risk. With Gabriela's arrival, Diego begins questioning whether he has truly found complete happiness. While he deeply loves Mariana, the familiarity and connection he shares with Gabriela create tensions, not only in his marriage, but also within his sense of identity and his place in the García family. Although understanding, Mariana senses that something is changing between her and Diego, and she fears that her family may begin to fracture. Sofía, who has always been the family's leader, starts to feel the weight of her responsibilities. Despite achieving many successes for San Isidro, she feels emotionally drained and begins to question whether her personal life has been neglected in the process. The pressures of being the pillar of the community and her family begin to take a toll on her mental strength. Amid her crisis, Sofía receives unexpected support from Camilo Vargas, who has remained in San Isidro to assist with community projects. Although their relationship started with distrust, Camilo has proven to be a valuable ally and a close friend. Gradually, their bond deepens into something more, something neither Sofía nor Miguel anticipated. Sofía and Miguel's relationship begins to strain. Although they share a strong love, Sofía's growing closeness to Camilo and the tensions in her work within the town create an emotional distance that starts to affect their marriage. Concerned about their future, Miguel suggests taking time away from San Isidro to focus on themselves, but Sofía, feeling trapped by her responsibilities, rejects the idea. While Sofía and Miguel navigate their relationship struggles, trouble resurfaces with the Vargas family. Cecilia Vargas, previously defeated, returns with new allies and a plan to regain influence in the region. This time, she does not seek to reclaim the lands, but instead tries to undermine trust in the Garcías through a smear campaign. She questions their leadership in San Isidro and offers business alliances to some farmers. Cecilia organizes a secret meeting with several town leaders, offering investments in infrastructure in exchange for their support of her new development project. While many are wary of her, the offer is tempting, especially to those who believe the Garcías have held too much power over the town's decisions. One of the Garcías' trusted men, Rodrigo, betrays the family by aligning himself with Cecilia Vargas. Resentful of feeling undervalued for years, Rodrigo sees Cecilia as an opportunity to gain power and prestige. His betrayal is a devastating blow to the family, especially for Sofía, who had always trusted him. Meanwhile, Diego continues to grapple with his feelings for Gabriela. She confesses that her return to San Isidro wasn't solely for business. Gabriela admits she has always been in love with him. Though she doesn't expect him to leave Mariana, she urges him to be honest with himself about what he truly feels. This confession forces Diego to confront his emotions and make difficult decisions about his personal life and marriage. After a series of heartfelt conversations, Diego decides to fight for his marriage with Mariana. He confesses everything about Gabriela to her, and though Mariana is hurt, they both commit to rebuilding their relationship. Mariana makes it clear that while she understands Diego's struggles, he must fully dedicate himself to their family. Believing she has the upper hand over the Garcías, Cecilia accelerates her development plans. However, Camilo, who has remained loyal to the family, gathers enough evidence to expose Cecilia's corrupt dealings. In a final confrontation, Camilo presents the evidence to the authorities, leading to Cecilia's arrest for fraud and bribery. The Vargas threat finally comes to an end. Despite his role in saving the García family once again, Camilo realizes that his relationship with Sofía cannot continue. He knows Miguel remains an important part of her life and that his presence only complicates things. In a noble act, Camilo decides to leave San Isidro and seek a new beginning elsewhere, giving Sofía the opportunity to save her marriage. Miguel, recognizing that both he and Sofía made mistakes, reconciles with her. They understand that the tensions and challenges they faced were part of their growth as a couple. Together, they decide to start fresh, agreeing to take time away from their responsibilities in the town to refocus on their love and shared life. After enduring so many trials, the García family emerges more united than ever. Alejandro, following Rodrigo's betrayal, grows closer to his siblings and decides to take an active role in family decisions, finally leaving the shadows of his past behind. Diego, now strengthened in his marriage, rededicates himself to the community alongside Mariana. Sofía, though exhausted, feels she has regained balance in her personal and professional life. With the Vargas threat vanquished and the community united, Sofía and the town's leaders double down on sustainable development projects that honor the spirit of San Isidro. New cooperatives are established to enhance agricultural production, and the town becomes a national model for self-sufficiency and sustainability. Sofía, Diego, and Alejandro begin preparing the next generation of Garcías to take on the responsibilities that will one day fall to them. Santiago, Diego's son, becomes a symbol of the family's future. The siblings commit to teaching him the values of justice, honesty, and community service that they have learned through the years. The story of the García family continues with every step they take. Though they have overcome many challenges, they know new ones will always arise. However, with their family united and their community strong, they face the future with optimism, knowing that together they can withstand anything. The legacy the Garcías have built promises to endure for generations. The commitment to justice, love, and sacrifice that defines the family remains alive, and San Isidro thrives under their care. San Isidro had found peace again, but the lives of the García family were about to change irrevocably. On a rainy afternoon, a devastating tragedy strikes the town. While supervising work in the community, Miguel is caught in a landslide on the Hacienda lands, leaving him critically injured and clinging to life. When Sofía hears the news, she rushes to the hospital in tears, terrified of losing the love of her life. At the hospital, the doctors inform her that Miguel's injuries are severe and that even if he survives, he may never walk again. Devastated, Sofía collapses in the hallway, overwhelmed by memories of their life together, the battles they've fought, the love they've shared. She cannot imagine a life without him. Diego and Alejandro arrive to support her, but Sofía, consumed by despair and guilt, isolates herself, wondering if fate is punishing them for the sacrifices they made for San Isidro. Days pass, and Miguel remains unconscious. The doctors tell Sofía she must make a difficult decision, approve a risky surgery that could save his life, but might also leave him entirely dependent. Sofía is paralyzed with indecision. Nights at the hospital become a torment of dark thoughts as she fears making the wrong choice. One night, while Sofía sleeps by Miguel's bedside, Camilo appears at the hospital. Having heard about the accident, he returns to San Isidro despite leaving before, determined to support Sofía during her most vulnerable moment. Seeing him stirs a flood of conflicting emotions in Sofía, gratitude for his presence and a sharp pain that reminds her of the doubts in her marriage. Camilo reassures her that he is there to help without expecting anything in return. After weeks in a coma, Miguel finally opens his eyes. Though weak, his first instinct is to search for Sofía. The relief is overwhelming, but it quickly gives way to the harsh reality of his condition. Miguel cannot move his legs. As the weight of this realization sinks in, the optimism of his awakening fades. Miguel is consumed with despair, fearing he will become a burden to Sofía and questioning whether he can still be the man he once was. In a moment of deep sadness, Miguel asks Sofía to leave him. With tears in his eyes, he tells her she deserves to live a full life without being tied to someone who can no longer walk or protect and support her as he used to. Hearing this shatters Sofía's heart. She cannot accept such a notion, believing that love knows no limits. However, Miguel remains determined to release her from what he sees as a burden. Emotionally exhausted, Sofía makes a bold decision. She temporarily steps down as the town's leader to devote herself entirely to Miguel. Knowing she cannot move forward without him, she entrusts the responsibilities of San Isidro to Diego and Alejandro and moves with Miguel to the Hacienda, where they try to face this new chapter of their lives together. The Hacienda, once a symbol of prosperity, now bears witness to their shared pain. For Miguel, the days are dark. Despite Sofía's unconditional love, his wounded pride prevents him from accepting his situation. Every day becomes a battle between his love for Sofía and the deep sense of helplessness consuming him. The emotional distance between them grows. While Sofía tends to him with unwavering devotion, Miguel withdraws, feeling as though he is failing her as a husband. In the midst of this turmoil, a small but significant miracle occurs. Miguel begins to regain some movement in his hands, despite the doctor's earlier pessimism. This small progress reignites hope in Sofía, who encourages him to keep fighting. However, Miguel remains torn between hope and the fear that he may never fully recover. Amid the chaos, Alejandro's former fiancée, Lucia, returns to San Isidro. Her arrival raises suspicions, but she claims to have changed. Now a successful physical therapist, Lucia offers to help with Miguel's rehabilitation. Though Sofía is wary of her intentions, Miguel, desperate to improve, agrees to accept Lucia's help, believing she might achieve what other doctors could not. Lucia's presence at the Hacienda creates tensions between Alejandro and Sofía. Alejandro, still hurt by his past with Lucia, warns his sister not to trust her. However, Sofía, willing to do anything for Miguel's recovery, ignores her brother's warnings. As Lucia grows closer to Miguel, Alejandro fears she may be manipulating the situation for her own benefit. With Lucia's assistance, Miguel begins to show remarkable improvement. He can sit up unaided and partially move his legs. Grateful for the progress, Sofía starts to see Lucia as an ally. However, tensions between Alejandro and Lucia persist. Determined to protect his family, Alejandro investigates Lucia's life since leaving San Isidro and uncovers her involvement in several financial scandals. One day, in a moment of vulnerability, Lucia confesses to Miguel that she still loves him. She tells him she has always admired him, even when she was engaged to Alejandro, and that seeing him in this condition makes her want to be by his side. Though Miguel is moved by her words, he remains steadfast in his love for Sofía. However, this revelation leaves him feeling unsettled, as it adds yet another layer of complexity to an already difficult chapter of their lives. Lucia might be using Miguel's vulnerability to get closer to him. When Alejandro confronts Lucia about her shady past, she doesn't deny it. She admits to having made mistakes, but insists that her feelings for Miguel are genuine. However, Alejandro does not trust her. In a heated argument, he demands that she stay away from the family. Sofía overhears the conversation and is devastated to learn that Lucia had been trying to win her husband's affection. Sofía confronts Lucia, who finally admits that her initial intention was to manipulate Miguel to regain the power she once had. However, Lucia claims that during the process, she realized how much she genuinely cared for the García family. In tears, Lucia leaves San Isidro, accepting her defeat and leaving Miguel and Sofía with the opportunity to heal without her interference. Miguel, devastated by what happened, makes a crucial decision. He can no longer live with the guilt of allowing Lucia to get so close. He decides to undergo an experimental surgery, risking everything to regain his mobility and, more importantly, to become the man Sofía deserves again. He promises Sofía that no matter what happens, his love for her is stronger than any adversity. The surgery is a partial success. Although Miguel does not fully regain his mobility, he makes significant progress that allows him to walk with assistance. This small victory restores their hope. When Sofía sees him standing once again, she cries tears of joy. The road to full recovery is long, but they are ready to walk it together, strengthened by their love and resilience. With Miguel recovering and Lucia out of their lives, Sofía and Miguel begin to rebuild their relationship. Through the pain and adversity, they discover a deeper, more mature, and stronger love than before. The time they spent fighting together taught them that the true strength of their love lies not in external circumstances, but in their ability to support each other no matter what they face. The town of San Isidro, which had shared the García family's anguish, celebrates Miguel's recovery and Sofía's return to her role as a leader. Together, Miguel and Sofía organize a grand celebration to thank everyone who supported them. The community gathers in a joyous event that honors life, strength, and love. With Miguel on the path to recovery and the García family more united than ever, San Isidro's future looks bright. Sofía looks ahead with optimism, knowing that while life will always bring challenges, she and Miguel are now prepared to face them together, stronger than ever. Love, loyalty, and perseverance have triumphed once more, and the story of the García family remains an enduring example of resilience and hope. San Isidro seemed to be entering a period of stability. Miguel's recovery and the unity of the García family had brought peace back to the town. However, a sense of unease lingered in Sofía, as though something dark was approaching. Memories of all the battles they had faced filled her with anxiety, but she could not have imagined that the worst was still to come. One day, a stranger appears at the García Hacienda. He introduces himself as Tomás, a prominent lawyer hired by someone with a hidden claim to the lands of San Isidro. He carries with him old documents that allegedly prove the García family is not the legitimate owner of a significant portion of the lands. Sofía and Diego meet him with skepticism, but as they review the papers, their world begins to crumble. Upon further investigation, they discover that the documents are authentic. The most shocking revelation, however, is that Don Ernesto had discovered this secret before his death and had hidden it. The lands that the Garcias had always believed to be theirs now seemed to be tied to a truth long buried. The Garcia family, which had protected these lands for generations, discovered they were partially owned by the Torres family from a neighboring town. The Garcia and Torres families had been enemies for decades, but the Torres lineage was believed to have ended years ago, or so they thought. The lawyer revealed that a descendant of the Torres family, Victoria Torres, had returned to claim what she deemed hers. Victoria, a cold and calculating woman, had reappeared with a clear mission to destroy the Garcia family and reclaim the lands she believed were stolen through Ernesto's betrayal. Victoria had spent years abroad preparing her revenge and now had all the legal and financial resources necessary to execute her plan. Sofía García organized a meeting with Victoria in hopes of finding a peaceful resolution. However, Victoria, with a sardonic smile, refused to negotiate. She reminded Sofía that while the Garcia family lived in opulence, the Torres family had sunk into poverty. She declared she would not rest until the Garcia family lost everything and the lands were under her control. News of Victoria's claim spread across San Isidro. Many farmers, fearful of losing their lands, began questioning the legitimacy of the Garcia family. Some, especially those who had suffered under Don Ernesto's strict rule in the past, started to align themselves with Victoria, seeing her as a chance for change. Victoria then approached Alejandro Garcia directly, knowing he was the most vulnerable of the siblings. She offered him a deal: betray Sofía and Diego in exchange for a portion of the lands and a substantial sum of money. Alejandro, plagued by personal demons and resentments, considered the offer, torn between loyalty to his family and the possibility of a new life. After a night of intense inner conflict, Alejandro made a decision that would alter the course of history. In a secret meeting, he signed an agreement with Victoria, ceding part of the lands in exchange for a generous payment. Though consumed by guilt, he believed it was the only way to save himself from imminent destruction. Sofía, always intuitive, discovered Alejandro's betrayal when one of the family's lawyers revealed the signed agreement. The revelation devastated her. In a confrontation filled with tears and shouting, Sofía confronted Alejandro, who admitted he had always felt overshadowed by her and Diego and was tired of bearing the family's legacy. Amid this chaos, Victoria revealed a shocking truth. She and Alejandro had been involved in a relationship in the past, before he returned to San Isidro. During those years, Alejandro had confided family secrets to her, inadvertently aiding her in crafting her revenge. This revelation rocked the entire family. Enraged, Diego confronted Alejandro and physically attacked him for betraying the family so cruelly. Overwhelmed with guilt, Alejandro sought redemption. He decided there was only one way to stop Victoria: expose a secret she didn't want anyone to know. In a final conversation with Sofía, he revealed that Victoria was hiding her true identity. Though she claimed to be a legitimate Torres heir, she actually had no direct connection to the family. Everything was a fabrication. Desperate to find evidence, Sofía and Diego searched the estate's old records. They discovered documents hidden by Don Ernesto, which proved Victoria was not a Torres. Instead, she was the daughter of one of the family's servants. These documents were the key to dismantling her entire revenge plot. Meanwhile, one of Victoria's allies, Tomás, the same lawyer who had initially brought her case forward, discovered the truth. Feeling betrayed, he decided to hand over incriminating evidence to Sofía. Armed with this new information, Sofía and Diego filed a legal case that not only exposed Victoria, but stripped her of any rights to the lands. In a climactic courtroom battle, Sofía presented all the evidence before the judge, leaving Victoria with no options. The meticulous revenge plan she had spent years constructing crumbled before her eyes. Furious and humiliated, Victoria vowed that this would not be the last time the Garcia family heard from her. However, the judge ruled that she had no claim to the Garcia lands. After their legal victory, Alejandro, filled with remorse, made a heartfelt apology to his family. While his betrayal left deep scars, Sofia and Diego eventually forgave him, understanding that he too had been a victim of Victoria's manipulations. Determined to fully redeem himself, Alejandro withdrew from public life and dedicated himself to farming, leaving behind the power and ambition that had led to his downfall. With Victoria out of their lives and the truth finally revealed, the Garcia family began a process of healing. Sofia and Diego took charge of the estate, reorganizing the community to ensure the lands were managed fairly and equitably. Miguel, now fully recovered, resumed his role as Sofia's protector and partner, and together they built a future for San Isidro. Just when everything seemed resolved, Sofia received an anonymous letter. The message warned her that the Garcia family's enemies had not entirely disappeared, and that forces were working in the shadows to destroy their legacy. Troubled but undeterred, Sofia resolved not to let fear defeat her. She knew that with love, loyalty, and unity, her family could overcome any obstacle. Aware of the fragility of power and wealth, Sofia and Diego decided to create a community trust to protect San Isidro's lands from future external threats. This project involved all the farmers, ensuring that the lands would remain in the community's hands, safe from exploitation by outside interests. As the Garcia family finally found peace and San Isidro flourished under their leadership, Sofia and Miguel decided to have a child. This new life symbolized not only the continuation of the family, but also a future filled with hope. The birth of their child carried the promise that, no matter what, the Garcia family's legacy of love and sacrifice would live on for generations. The story of the Garcia family, marked by struggle, sacrifice, and redemption, serves as a testament to the power of truth, love, and justice, no matter the cost.